You got so many great matches coming up across ESPN Plus this week. You've got Carabao Cup today. You've got FA Cup at the weekend with Wrexham. Of course, you've got the Bundesliga match coming up. Dortmund hosting Bayern. Dortmund is big underdogs here. They are plus 290, so you bet $100 to win 290. Bayern, big favorites. You have to bet $145 just to win 100. They are minus 145. I would just ask you about the matchup. We'll come back to that in a second, because we call this Der Klassiker as a name for a reason, because it's supposed to be the two biggest clubs in Germany. It's supposed to be fighting for the title. That said, neither of them are in first. Dortmund's currently in fourth right now. Are they really even the biggest challenger to Bayern, given where Leverkusen is and the fact Leverkusen's already drawn Bayern this year? Like, how do you even look at this matchup relation to the table?
Well, I mean, it is important because it's a massive matchup historically. It almost, I mean, at this early in the stage, it doesn't really matter, because what it's going to do, the winner, assume, let's just assume that there's going to be a winner. I mean, the boost you get from that, right? You can see that Bayern Munich are ticking up. You see that Dortmund is starting to, to kind of, be in good places as you look at, we'll get to Bayer Leverkusen in a second, but things are getting a little bit better. So it's going to be a massive boost. And so it is going to be important. I think for me, Bayern Munich are favorites here. I mean, Bayern Munich are doing what you think they should be doing. There's been so many questions about him, because the reason for that is not necessarily because of the player or the talent. It's funny how we're kind of down on Bayern Munich, and it may be because the inconsistencies in terms of managers coming and going. That's not usual. Usually when Bayern are firing on all cylinders, you kind of clearly see a manager that really is beyond question. And that hasn't happened as of late. I think that lucky finish, because Borussia Dortmund gave it away. Yeah. And I think the reason that Dortmund had such a slow start may be part of that, because that disappointment for a lot of people had to be massive. We saw what it did to Marco Reus. I mean, Marco Reus came in the summer and said, I don't want to be the captain. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say, I know for sure, what happened last season was the reason, but it's a safe bet. Somebody like Hummels, I mean, great servant, even though he's been at Bayern Munich, but how much did he want it to win as part of his club? Because let's be honest here, Borussia Dortmund is Hummels' club. So that was such a blow that you could see they didn't recover from yet. Terzic, there's still question marks around him, still very young manager, but tactically there are some questions there. So yeah, this is going to be massive. And of course, right now, I think the second part of your question is, are they even favorites? As it stands right now, you can't dismiss Leverkusen. Xabi Alonso is doing a tremendous job. This team is solid defensively, well balanced, which of course the Leverkusen or the disliked, I don't want to say hated because I don't like that word, but disliked Neverkusen, it seems to be gone. It's still to be confirmed, but they don't go from the ups and downs where Leverkusen could beat anybody in their time in the Champions League and lose to the last team in the Bundesliga from time to time, or win 6-0 and then lose 6-2 type of thing. So they have the players, they have a manager, they have a clear way of playing, and I think there's no coincidence that Leverkusen are at the top of the Bundesliga.
And remember, folks, they went to Bayern and drew, and that's the 2 points difference right now. So they kind of hold some cards in there. Yes,
and Leipzig are within a shout, even though the players that they've lost, not many clubs like them that they can kind of rejig themselves. On one hand, you lose Nkunku, and then Openda comes in, and as if nothing has changed.
They've been remarkable in that way. Obviously, Dortmund's been great at that for years too, is to sell and to let some of your best players go and then continue to repopulate with really talented players. The recruitment at both those clubs is great. Leipzig also is the other team that drew Bayern, to your point. So this is going to be, I think what's exciting about the Bundesliga this year is it seems like it's going to be a race. And last year was a race to the very end and a shocking result at the very end. But the years prior to that, we were struggling to find competition for Bayern. Doesn't seem to be the case here. Also, I think defensively they've been much better. The last 3 league games, they've given up 1 goal. I think that's helped them turn the tide a little bit to be a little better, a little more sound defensively, Munich. But also, obviously, Kane's been outstanding. I mean, Kane's been ridiculous in terms of he scored a goal from 60 yards out. They blast Darmstadt 8-0. But when you look at Harry Kane fitting into that team, what do you think has been so critical to his success and also the success of the team, especially going forward?
Nothing other than what. Well, I mean, let me define that, obviously. I mean, so often we look at transfers, and we wonder if they're right for the team and for the player. And this was screaming. You didn't have to know much about football, other than over decades, there's only one way that Bayern Munich has played that has been incredibly successful. Same way of playing with same number 9. There's so many great number 9s that I already forgot that they've had over decades, right? Going all the way back to Gerd Muller, right? But obviously when Lewandowski left, there was a hole. I mean, I think Choupo-Moting has done a good job, but we all knew that this was not the profile of a striker. And really, all those years that Lewandowski has benefited, not just from Thomas Muller, because he specifically looked for him, but, the likes of Robben and Ribéry. And now you have Leroy Sané, who's, back. I don't even want to say back to his best. I mean,
this is his best.
I mean, this sort of Leroy Sané, I'm sure Pep Guardiola is saying, where was he? I would never sold him if he was, not only playing like that, but working as hard as he does. And maybe, some of the stuff off the pitch is better for him as well. He's confident. He's happy. So you have two wingers that will deliver you not only goals themselves, as Robben and Ribéry and many before them have done, but so you have Harry Kane, who's going to get the service, who doesn't have to worry about dropping back in the midfield and almost create goals for himself like he did. How many goals have we seen where he kind of dropped in the midfield with Spurs, played it, a beautiful ball wide, knowing, just with the right pace so he can get up there in the penalty area and finish the cross that ultimately came. So this is just perfect for everybody. We shouldn't be surprised. And that's why I continue to talk about Harry Kane, because, if you think that, Erling Haaland's being left out, Ballon d'Or, but all this, I mean, look at Harry Kane. I mean, how many more consistent strikers over the last decade have we had? Him and Lewandowski, and then nobody. Leo Messi, of course, and Cristiano Ronaldo. I mean, he's quietly doing an incredible job, because even last season, I mean, what did he have in the Premier League? Just a few goals short, less than Erling Haaland. And look at the teams that both played. And he's going to be a forgotten man. No matter what he does, he is going to be a forgotten man in all these trophies that people are giving out left or right. So in a way, I think we all knew it was going to happen. We may have had doubts, moving countries, moving leagues. How is he going to adapt? Well, the answer is for all of us to see. Again, the best. I mean, he's amongst the best out there right now.
He is, and I think he's been a forgotten man partially because the team he's played on are not winning trophies. But this is going to be amended this year potentially. Like I was saying before, there's going to be a race in the Bundesliga, and if they win that race, that's his trophy. The Champions League, if they win that, that puts. I think that'll put him in the front of people's minds more so, and especially doing it on that stage. And then you compound that with another international tournament, which people have seen him do it already, with the 3 lions on his chest. But if they do that and win the thing, like he has the year set up to really, to your point, forget being the forgotten man, to be the man and going back to the Ballon d'Or conversation.
That's why, going back to our first conversation, forget about all these young whippersnappers for a second, because, I'm happy that I know he's going to be in the conversation for it, right? Because the trophy, I think, again, Bayern, will win a trophy. I mean, they are the favorites still for me to win it. You've mentioned defensively. Let's not forget that Manuel Neuer is back. I don't care if he's 36 or 37, but clearly everybody feels better that he's in the back and not Ulreich. With all the respect I give him, it changes things, even if it's psychologically. It definitely changes things that he's in the back there. Obviously, his ability to play with his feet, still probably he hasn't forgotten that, I suppose. Small sample right now because he's just come back. But England, obviously, just like Jude Bellingham, in that conversation. So Harry Kane very much will be and should be in the conversation. And that in itself, I think there's going to be a lot of people out there that are going to be happy about that. Even if everybody puts away their bias, they're going to say, you know what? Maybe this is the time for Harry Kane that he's in that discussion. And I think he will be in that discussion.